Well, it's been a quiet week here in Lake Skabegon, my hometown. This episode, the Squids continue to talk about Pete's eventual purchase of Crocs, a trip to a cat cafe, more unfortunate events, Switchfoot, and who would have guessed, more Furnace Fest.
Hey everybody, welcome to A Pickle Home Companion. I'm Kevin, I'm one of the hosts here. This episode actually picks up right where episode 15 left off. So, if you're a resident in town here at Lake Skabegon, and you're wondering why we don't kick things off with our usual toast to a Happy Failure Puddle Friday, that is why. This is actually a continuation episode. And if you're new in town, we highly encourage you to go back and listen to some of the old episodes, so you can kind of get in on the running jokes that keep reoccurring from episode to episode. And with all that being said, we now go back to the Lake Skabegon town meeting that's already in progress. And more croc talk.
I got to incorporate that into my daily life. Just enthusiastically punching the air because that made me happy, and I want to do it.
I also have some Aaron Judge gibbets now that I'm going to look up at this moment. Okay.
Your crocs are going to be so blinged out.
They really
At the
are.
recording of this episode, it is game 2, the ALCS.
Wait a time.
Is there going to be any room for any more at the point, like when you actually get Crocs? You're going to have more than you can put. You're going to have to rotate the decorations.
You're going to buy your second pair already.
All right, guys. Right. I'm gonna pull out a reference that has crashed and burned each time that I have tried to say it.
Promising.
And this right here is going to tell me if we can be friends or not. I might become the Imelda Marcos of Crocs.
Ooh, I support this. I lived in the Philippines for 4 years.
Bada bing, Jared, we can be friends. Jared, we can be friends.
Heck yeah, you got all the shoes. All the shoes, and you're going to be the president.
All right, so Kevin, Brock, can we be friends?
I'm smiling like we're friends.
I don't know. I'm still looking at that hat and that jersey that you're wearing, and I don't know.
That's the divide.
All right, well, at least I got one friend on this podcast.
I lived in the Philippines, Pete. My sister was born there, actually.
Oh, hey, that's
not
awesome.
A missionary. Dad was in the Air Force.
I love that for
plot
you.
twist right there. Curveball.
For those of us who may not know, I'm asking on behalf of the listener. Can you explain?
So Imelda Marcos, Jared, actually, you live there. Please tell us more.
Imelda Marcos was the president of the Philippines, right? And
her husband was, right?
Or
was she?
Her son became it's continued, right? It was her husband, and then her son eventually. But she was a politician too.
Could you fact check this for us?
Well, so I'm looking it up right now. Filipino politician, convicted criminal who was first lady of the Philippines.
Yes,
from 1965 to 1986. That's when I lived there.
Right.
But she is very well known for her massive shoe collection.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's her biggest claim to fame.
So I have a core memory as a kid watching 60 Minutes with my parents. And there was a whole story about Imelda Marcos. And then after that, there were all the punchlines of comedians in the 80s, or maybe 90s, was all about Imelda Marcos's shoe collection. So I have this long-standing punchline that nobody gets.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Every time, like I told my wife when she does not have a lot of shoes, but I probably have more shoes than she does. I'm like, I'm the Imelda Marcos of this family, and she goes, "What?"
I did think that was a well-known express. Like I thought that was a well-known thing that people would get that. Pete, I'm with you.
All right, good. Oh, this is going to be a great untold story segment.
Her Wikipedia page tells me that the Marcoses have set the world record for the largest amount plundered from a government in the history of civilization.
Plundered from a government?
Somewhere between 5 and 10 billion, give or take. So they might
That's more than I make in a year.
Yeah.
You want to make more money? Sure, we all do.
Ligma.
Damn near wrecked him.
Oh man, I love our natural progressions in this podcast.
That's amazing. But she owned a lot of shoes, just like Pete owns Crocs.
Yeah, that's.
And he also plunders the government for record amounts.
Does he now?
The
That's where
IRS,
the travel
if you're
budget
listening,
comes from, guys.
If yeah, that's right. Because according to Daniel Rock, I travel all the time, always traveling,
Definitely in the months of September and October.
and that's the thing, right? So in September and October, I did travel a lot, but the rest of the year, uh, I still travel a lot.
Well, you traveled yesterday.
I did. Hey, good segue. We
Oh
went to a
yeah,
cat
Hey, I did it
cafe.
again.
Tell
Who
us
wants to
about the
derail
cat.
this?
Well, travel, toil and trouble. Oh, it's Halloween time. I did travel yesterday. Kevin and I did meet up along with the rest of the Duquesne Buchanan family at a cat cafe in Tiverton.
That's right. I think I saw
Ohio.
pictures of this.
Happy
Yes.
birthday is in order, right, to Megan?
Yep, yeah, her birthday's at the end of the month, but this happened to be a day where we could get a reservation at the Cat Cafe for a private room, which was not so private,
A
apparently.
private room, yeah.
Because there were
But you
17
can't even
other
pick them
cats
up.
there.
What kind of reservation is this?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a
Uh,
little odd that they wouldn't let you pick up the cat. I mean, I get it, like if you have little kids in there that don't
Sure.
necessarily know how to pick up cats, but
Right.
other cat cafes that we've been to, they do allow you to pick up the cats. But
It seems
yeah,
like
so
a weird split in terms of what you would expect versus what you get.
Right.
yep, yeah. But the other odd thing was that there were two other people that were in the room for like half the time we were there.
Just
Okay, so not
chilling.
so private.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that you had gotten a private room, so that now makes sense why y'all were looking at each other like, what's going on?
Yeah, like why
Yeah.
are these other two people here? Yeah.
Until halfway through when you said I thought we had a private room, I did not understand that part. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, I'll leave.
I thought you were the intrusion.
Right.
Like I thought I was
Um,
invited, but
right.
here we are.
We do
We
have
really
some
invited
phenomenal.
Brock, but we just got Pete.
Right, exactly. Right. I
We
showed up.
promised Megan Brock, and it was Pete, and so there was some tension.
I just like to call myself Timu Brock, but that's
We all do.
Wow.
But we got some good interviews
phenomenal interviews.
Yeah.
The cats.
Oh, no, be
Excellent.
prepared. Look at the social media in the coming weeks. We're
I
gonna
will be.
we're gonna release some amazing content.
I'm
Yep.
excited about this.
It's gonna
Expect
be
Is this
Yes.
subscriber content or is it for everybody?
You know what? This one is just gonna be the gateway drug to our subscriber content.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Your first hit is free.
That's how we set up the
That's right.
Patreon.
Set up. Yeah, that's right. Whenever we set up, we barely set up the link tree. So the Patreon's coming next, guys. But it was great. We had a good time. Brock, you had started to say something, Brock. I'm so sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing substantive.
Are you?
Oh.
Are
You
you
weren't
guys
going to tell
ready?
us about your ATM story?
Oh, do you want it now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I had a job years ago that involved me fixing ATMs. I was a first line tech, is what they called it. So I had a minivan, I had a tackle box full of keys, and I had a couple of key cards that got me into key places around town. And if there was a stuck bill, I fixed that. Reset the thing so that it would spit $20 bills out at the people when they needed them. If it was out of receipt tape, I would replace the receipt tape. If there are other problems, I'd figure them out. So ATMs come in all shapes and sizes. One time I was called. I had a pager. This is back in the days before cell phones, even, or either that or maybe before text messaging, where like I had a phone that I could call with, but I had a pager that I received all of my work assignments on. So I would just drive wherever they told me to go. And it was all the way across town in Forest Grove, Oregon. I think I was living in Vancouver, Washington at the time. So this is easily an hour's drive, maybe an hour 15 or more. I think this day it was like rush hour when I was told to go there. So I just had to funnel myself through, the end of workday traffic sort of thing to get out to this ATM that was broken. And along the way, I'd packed myself a lunch that day. I had a thermos full of milk and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And
As one does.
what goes well with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or with a fluffernutter? Milk, right?
Right.
So I'm on my way out to do this. I eat the thing. I feel, hey, I had my dinner. I'm feeling good. The milk had been in the thermos all day, and I'm not sure exactly how effective the thermos was. It's possible. It's also possible that I am lactose intolerant. I have not found out exactly how lactose intolerant I am, but it's possible that that had something to do with it. What I do know is that the milk had been in the thermos all day, and it was probably longer than it should have been, right? So
no.
I think that could have contributed to the scenario at large. So I'm on my way out to fix this ATM. When I get there, I feel the need. I'm feeling the call of nature, and I think I really should find a restroom. But I also think it took me a long time to get here. I should really finish this job, and then if I repair the machine, then I can keep on going, and I'll find a restroom right after. So this is a freestanding ATM kiosk at a bank. That means that you drive up to it, but it's not attached to the building. It's its own little outbuilding in the middle of the parking lot. And in order to fix the machine, you have to open up a locked door and then you roll it, kind of like, when you go to library stacks and you have to roll the library stacks back and forth. It's like that. You roll the ATM out of the kiosk so there's room to step in and work on it.
So like a vending machine.
Yeah, basically, it's like a money vending machine. So you're in this little thing. It's a very small space. And just for context, I will say it was 2004. So or 2005, I was wearing baggy cargo pants and boxer shorts.
It was a Tuesday.
I was not well supported. Now, I had felt the call of nature, and I said, you know what? I can do this. I can finish this, and then I'll go find a restroom. And as soon as I was inside the kiosk, I knew that that was not true. The ATM was open. I was prepared to begin my work, and at that very moment, my bowels let fly. Everything that was inside me came out. There was no stopping it. There was no way to stem the flow. I was standing inside of an ATM kiosk in baggy pants with my lunch going into my shoes.
That puts a whole new meaning on the word deposit.
Yes, it sure does. Yes, overdrawn, really.
Well played.
So I'm not prepared for this situation. It was an eventuality, right? Not a possibility. It was going to happen, but I was not prepared. And I didn't have any change of clothes, any sort of backup. I had to get myself out of there, and I had to go and do more work. I had more ATMs to fix thereafter. So I used what I had. I had a plastic bag, a grocery bag to put some things into. I had receipt paper. I had thermal receipt paper.
Good.
Which, as you know, is not absorbent.
Right.
It is slick because situation. This is not what you want when it comes to it's the opposite of brawny paper towels.
Right. Now, had you been up here in the Northeast, you would have had a glove box full of Dunkin' Donuts napkins.
That's right.
As is tradition.
That's right. Yeah. And I did not. I was nowhere near a Dunkin' Donuts. So I did my best. What I had to do was I cleaned myself up with thermal receipt tape. I removed any unnecessary clothing. I went to a Safeway to buy baby wipes, and I cleaned myself, and I went to a Goodwill and I bought new pants. And that is what happened in the ATM in Forest Grove, Oregon.
Those
in 2005. They were not my pants anymore.
Oh no.
So add that location to the Pickle Home Companion walking tour.
That's right.
In the country of Oregon.
Yes,
Just
sir.
drop a pin where you dropped the deposit.
Last year, I was finally there for work
Grassman,
again.
if you're listening, please go find that.
Where's that Google Earth guy?
I went
on
back to the
Instagram?
location and it all came back. It was just like all the memories, the feelings.
I hope not.
Wait, you're telling me you pooped again?
Yeah, you pooped yourself?
No, just the emotions.
You were there though, in spirit.
Oh no.
I was. The
Oh.
ATM is still there, still standing.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm glad there's no one in hazmat suits.
There's a little bit of moon pie still there too.
Yeah, maybe so.
Uh,
That's good.
did you poop into poison ivy, Pete?
Well, let me just tell you guys, I have a story about that. So as someone with your story about finding non-absorbent paper made me think of this. As someone with Crohn's, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I was in Pennsylvania visiting some friends. They were playing on a soccer team, and I had to go. I looked one way and I saw the porta potties about 200 yards away, or I saw the woods 50 feet away. So I went to the woods. Well, what I and I quickly ran down in and I did my business. I looked around, I saw all these great leaves. Well, somehow the leaves that I grabbed to, as someone does, many times as you camp, you will grab some leaves to wipe yourself. Well, in that bunch of leaves I grabbed was some itching material. That's right.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yep. So I grabbed and I wiped and I thought everything was fine. Well, we went later on to see the Get Smart remake
Oh yeah.
in the theater. That was when Tina Fey and Steve Carell. No, I'm sorry, Anne Hathaway and Steve Carell. My apologies.
Yep.
We're in the theater and I'm all excited to watch this. Sitting there and all of a sudden I'm very itchy at where I wiped. And realized that I don't know if it was poison ivy. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, there was a reaction there. So I was very uncomfortable during the Get Smart movie. Great movie, but very uncomfortable. So I had to apply some cream later on in the evening. And I don't remember much about that, but I remember that I was super uncomfortable.
Oh, man.
Boy. That I will never forget that movie because
I'm so
I was
sorry.
moving and I was just moving around like, oh, and you're trying to play it cool,
So every time you see Anne Hathaway, you get an itchy bum. Is that what happens now?
That's actually Steve Carell.
Oh,
it's Steve Carell,
response.
So that
I thought that was more of a pickle front situation with Steve
nope,
Carell.
makes it very awkward. Makes it very awkward for The Office. No,
I have that movie on DVD.
I do
Is
too.
it unwrapped or still in the package?
Good question. That I'm not sure. I think a majority of the ones that I've bought that I've never gone back to and watched have been like TV series, like box sets.
Oh,
So
I
like
love TV box sets back in the day. I still have a
yeah.
bunch
So
right over
like
there, too.
all the like Chuck
I have those.
seasons.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I've got all those.
Chuck.
Love Chuck.
Yes. That was
I
a
have
great
Chuck.
show.
I have Scrubs.
Scrubs.
Arrested
I
Development.
don't have Scrubs.
The
My
original.
brother had
Lost.
Scrubs, so I never bought it.
Lost, Parks and Rec, The Office. Yep.
So Pete,
Hogan's
I've never seen an
Heroes.
episode of Lost.
Ooh.
You have to go back, Jared.
That's what people say. But I defy the people. I don't do it.
You always
Don't do
have.
it.
You've always been that one. You die hard on your stance.
But I do have all seasons of the Gilmore Girls over there. Those are mine, not my wife or daughters. Those are my purchases.
Hey, my old boss at the lemonade company I worked for, anytime I go in to talk to him one summer, he was watching Gilmore Girls. So
I love the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
nothing
I
wrong with
Was
that.
it Dell's? Was it Adele's?
Oh, all right, I'll drop that name. Yeah, it was Dell's.
Hell yeah.
You know this, boss?
No, but I know
well,
Dell's.
Dell's is a Rhode Island staple, and shout out to Mike, a friend of the podcast. Not at all, but maybe he'll listen now.
What is Adele's?
Dell's lemonade
Dells, yeah.
Dell's lemonade is a delicious Rhode Island treat. It's a frozen lemonade. And you have the nice lemon chunks
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
frozen lemonade. It's a slushy kind of lemonade.
Yeah, yeah,
And I used to work for the corporate office, so I would go around to all the different big events, and we also set up at a few beaches, and I drive a truck mainly. So that was my precursor to where I am now, so being in the food service. Um, and then I went into travel for a bit, and then I went to the waffle. But before that, when I was getting back into the working field after being so sick for a few years, I worked for Dell's Lemonade. Yep.
very cool.
Dells, if you want to sponsor us, please.
We'll take your
Please.
lemonade and your
Yeah.
Oh my
juice.
word.
He
Love Del.
he's since moved on from the industry,
But not from
uh,
Gilmore Girls.
but not from Gilmore Girls.
Good.
Melissa McCarthy will always be in his heart.
Have
That's
you
right.
ever had the Dells Narragansett Shandy?
I have. I
So good.
So here we go. Here's my little flex. I was working for them during the development of that shandy, so
Oh, okay.
we'd get the progress of the
Yeah.
shandy, and believe me, it got better. I got to taste it as it went along, and it was
Uh-huh.
it was very very cool to experience. But let's say the first year they released it was all right. The next
Yep.
year it got much better.
It did, yeah. Yeah.
I do follow the head brewer from Narragansett on Instagram.
Oh,
Her
nice.
handle
neighbor.
is the Punky Brewster. Exactly.
Hey, neighbor. Well, yeah.
He's a
So
great follow.
yeah. So that's Rhode Island right there. I mean,
Yeah.
they produced it during that time in Rochester, New York. So where Josh is from, but now they've moved back to Rhode Island. So yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I'll have a Gansett for sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, neighbor.
Same.
That's
I would
awesome.
too.
Have you had a Gansett, bro?
It's been a while
It's been a while. Sorry, I had to do it.
since I could drink some Narragansett.
It wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me if I didn't do a little musical interlude because
It would
I
not.
appreciate that. I respect that.
Thank you.
Oh, my one comment also pending from the episode is if anyone wants to talk about the Southern Baptist, I'm ready. My dad was a Southern Baptist pastor, been to Southern Baptist churches. I've been a voting messenger for the Southern Baptist Convention. So wherever you want to go with the Southern Baptist from like 1980 to 2000, whatever, I'm in. But
You
not
sound like you
necessarily.
know your way around it.
I do.
Yeah.
That was the whole background here. Because that just came up on the podcast. Reese said he has opinions and they weren't positive. That's the take I got.
So should we do a time marker for Kevin? Let's see, at the 2 hour and 19-minute mark, we get back to talking about the episode.
There's like at least 27 minutes of content talking about the Pickle and Boot Shop. It's got to be somewhere in there, buried deep.
I want to say, that I loved how my love of Switchfoot moved into Reese talking about Switchfoot and their start. I hadn't heard that story in as much detail from Reese about how I know they played during Cornerstone, but just kind of the progression of that was really cool to hear.
It was.
So I appreciated that very much. And the shout out to Steve Taylor and Frank Tate and Fillmore and all that stuff was pretty cool.
I love that history exists and that they're such a part of that because it's kind of unlikely. Like, I don't know that you would necessarily connect those dots if you didn't know the story behind it. But I mean, that's the kind of people that Five Iron are for sure. And
Right.
And I love that that's the connection that they had.
Oh yeah.
And I can confirm that, Switchfoot, those guys, super nice.
Me too.
Back Legend of Chin era, they
My favorite.
played at the college I was at, and they just hung out with us in the lounge on our floor in the dorm.
Yep.
And we stayed up literally all night just hanging out, just talking about whatever, talking about surfing, and then like doing laundry with the guys from Switchfoot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That-
that was super good time. Very, very nice. Yeah, I definitely remember that fondly.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, like I'd seen them once before, but I was at Jerome's first show, and I was a freshman at Houghton during that time, and um, we picked him up at the airport, and we were transporting him around campus, and they were playing those get to know you games with Jerome in the back of the van, because that was his, basically he known the guys, but he's starting to be part of this band, and he's playing his
Right.
first show with them, and those are great memories of just those early days. In fact, in Albany, Jerome was talking in this part of the because they're doing the Beautiful Letdown, anniversary, and they're talking about how he joined the band, and it was cool to be there while he was talking about that. And he goes, and some of the people from that show are here tonight. He points at me, and I'm like, hey, all right.
I know that guy. He's
I
me.
know that guy. He's me. Oh, hey guys, me.
Jeez, oh me.
Jeez, oh me.
If y'all will indulge me, I promise I'll keep it 2 to 4 minutes about Furnace Fest.
Okay.
But
All
it
right.
has been bothering me. Like I couldn't quite articulate or capture what I wanted to say about Furnace Fest when we talked about it, as much as we talked about it. Like there was no shortage of words uttered about Furnace Fest, but I couldn't get my way to what I was
Kevin, can you
trying to
fact check
say.
that?
Yeah, Kevin.
If you're keeping track at home, it has been approximately 0 episodes since we last talked about Furnace Fest.
I believe we can keep that streak going.
We are still
Right.
talking about Furnace.
We are still, because I'm still thinking about Furnace Fest. I don't know about
So
you
am I.
guys,
So am I.
Yeah, same.
but I'm still spending time thinking about it. I watched so many videos, both my own and other ones I've seen on YouTube. I've watched Every New Day, I don't know how many times. I've watched Do or
Mhm.
Die, I don't know how many times. I watched the Norma
Yeah.
Jean pile up and other moments a bunch of times. And then today, I was going to the grocery store to get some things for dinner and pulled up my phone, and the Black Sheep has their Furnace Fest recap episode
Yeah.
out, pushed out
Yep.
today.
Oh,
That
do
was
I'm
a
they?
halfway
great
through
listen.
Yeah,
that.
I
so
Yep.
enjoyed that.
yeah, I just started listening. I
I'm
haven't
gonna go
gotten all the
add
way
that right
through it.
now.
But Jason Kirk was on there, which I know Brock and I have talked on Instagram about
Yeah,
his novel, A World, Hell is a World Without Me or Without You,
great. Yeah, great
um,
novel.
which is phenomenal. Like we could go into a whole different direction about that novel, and I won't take up that time. But he, um, on that episode, there were two things that jumped out that he said, and then one of the other guys. So one of the other guys made the comment that like what they had in their mind of what Cornerstone was when they were a teenager, of like this like perfect place of the music they love that they never attended, which is also the case for me. Like I was aware of Cornerstone as it was happening, but it was one of those like never a consideration of actually going to the place from where I was at. But the
Mhm.
place you would want to go, and the comment was like, as an adult, Furnace Fest was what he thought Cornerstone would have been like when he was a teenager. And I was
Right.
like, that's a really good connection to me of like how to describe the feeling of it. Was like the way I felt about what I thought Cornerstone would be. And that was the place I wanted to be that I never experienced. And what Furnace Fest that I did get to experience felt like what I assumed that was like, even though it wasn't quite a 1-to-1, but something like that. But then Jason Kirk, I just thought it was interesting. He was talking about they were going through their top 3 experiences or whatever. And so he mentions Five Iron, the set. And he was like, he's there. He's like, there's 40 minutes of shenanigans, silliness, nonsense, and then on a dime, like his language, I won't get it exactly right, but basically they turned on a dime, and it became the most with Every New Day, and it became the most sincere worship experience he can remember in the 20 years since he left going to church,
Oh,
like out of nowhere. And I was like, that definitely resonated with how I felt about that,
Mhm.
but I was trying to figure out how to say, because Pete, you asked me last time, like over 4 years, what's your perspective?
mhm.
And a few guys on there even commented on like the way the lineup worked out. They felt like they had space where they didn't have to be at every set, which is how I
Yep.
felt this year.
Yeah,
Same.
and I think we all kind of said that same thing.
And so after like now some more time to reflect on it, I was like, I realized so many of the bands I wanted to see this year had been there previously. So
Mm.
it wasn't the one opportunity that it was the first time. Because like I said, I didn't go to a lot of shows when I was younger, when these bands were formative from a recording standpoint. I consumed their CDs in my living room or my bedroom. And at that point, I was like a very awkward homeschooled teenager, maybe isolated from the group. And exactly in so many ways where like the music was a connection and meaningful. But I even look at my own kids and I'm like, how are you? Like, I was ready to have conversations about being like uncomfortable at school. I don't know how to deal with a cool teenager who fits in and
Right.
is popular. I have nothing to offer you. Like I have all sorts to offer a kid who's like, no one likes me. I listen to weird things. Like I was ready for that conversation. That's not my kids. Um,
Wow.
but I feel like that's this group to a degree is like had these formative experiences at that time. And at this point, though, having gone to the first three Furnace Fest and getting these peak moments of like, I'm finally seeing this band live. Like I got to see Five Iron, I got to see Insiders in this stage. Um, he is legend. I saw so many Stretch Armstrong, like Beloved, all these bands where I got that moment where it was like the focus was on being there, rushing to the front, getting my t-shirt, standing in the merch line, all of like those experiences where this time it was like I think because they announced the end of an era and they told us it was coming to a close, it was a way to go into that knowing that this was final in some way. And it was a
Mm.
closure loop. But what I think I've realized after the fact is it wasn't, I knew it was a closure on the 4 year experience of the Furnace Fest run. I don't think I was expecting it to come full circle on like formative periods from my youth to where I am to now. And I think what I wanted to articulate that I couldn't quite figure out how to voice correctly about what the experience was this year was the collective opportunity in the moment throughout all of this year's Furnace Fest, knowing that it was closing and ending. I was fully present in what was happening, but you know the Office episode where it's like, I wish we knew the good old days were happening while we were in them.
Right.
Right.
It was that like I was fully aware that these are the moments that will endure that I will look back on. But there was no separation from that. It was as it was happening, I knew to pause and be present. And so even a lot of the sets where I wasn't rushed to the front, I was observing, I was watching. What I think was so particular and so meaningful and profound was I found myself with a giant grin for an entire weekend, which was the cumulative shared experience of the 4 years, but knowing what I was getting, it was like, I know this is rich. I know this is good. I'm fully aware as it's happening. I have a giant grin, and my head is just watching all these people seeing their favorite band sing their favorite song and jumping on stage and soaking that in. So even the sets that weren't my number one, I saw all the people where it was their most important event at that weekend.
Mm.
And you were like, I had my Five Iron moment and I had my other moments, but I watched all these other people have their moments, whatever that was for them. And as it was all happening, I was completely aware that this mattered. This was meaningful. And then the connection I think I was trying to communicate was I didn't leave there with any sort of sadness, remorse, or I wish it would continue. I came home so content with my life right now and
That's sick.
looking back at the awkward teenager and how the music mattered and all of those experiences and to where I'm at, I was like, life is good. Like, not only was Furnace Fest good, not only are these friendships good that have endured and are new, not only were those moments good, but I was more happy than ever to see my wife and kids. I've been very happy to go to work because I'm fully aware that I am in a place of like, I feel blessed and abundant, if we want to use some spiritual, like church language, of like, life is good right now. And it's been building since those awkward times when this music spoke to me to now it still speaks, but I don't feel isolated. I don't feel left alone. I don't feel like I'm filling a void. I feel full and it's just expansive, if that makes any sense.
Ooh.
And so
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
was trying to articulate why the connection to the past to the now mattered. And I think that finally hit me. This time I was fully aware of how good I have it, both in the music sense of just like a set, but in the big picture sense of like I have these multiple decade friendships that are still here and we're together. I have these new friendships that are expanding on what I've already got. And then I'm going home and I'm watching my kids. My oldest daughter had homecoming dance this weekend And it was like, oh, I'm watching her grow into a person, and my youngest and my wife, and like we are fortunate and blessed. And I just felt so much satisfaction and gratitude and contentment. And like that somehow, I don't know why Furnace, like a music festival, gave a lens for clarity on like you're blessed. Like your life is good at 40. I'm 44 as of Thursday. Um, but like from where these moments first hit, like 5 iron, that was when I was 16, 17, when I first encountered them, to 44, how it's persisted and endured, but still matters. But now I'm not left alone, isolated, awkward, and unsure about the future. I'm fully content in the present and hopeful for whatever's next, even though I don't know what it is. I'm not looking to the future for fulfillment and contentment, like kind of like when you're a teenager where you can't wait for like whatever it is, adulthood, your job.
Mm.
Life is good right now and the music still matters, but the friendships, the things, I think that's what I was trying to say. And I didn't get it out on Sunday. And it's been bothering me ever since.
Wow.
No, and I totally get it because trying to put Furnace Fest into words, even, last year and this year, it's so hard to do because it's like every time I'm trying to, kind of explain how awesome it is and like all this, it's like, man, I wish you were there so you could experience it because
Yeah.
I can't put this into words like how special this is
Right.
and how amazing of an experience it is, and I totally get it.
It's joy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it was joy there. It's joy that endures. It's joy that persists. It's joy in the here. And I'm positive there's joy to go forward. But like everything about it, you just looked around, everybody's like happy because
Yeah.
Mhm.
we're all experiencing these things that were significant, meaningful, and important and personal, but collective. And I think that was really cool. It's personal and collective. And that's what's great about music is it means something to me, but it means
Right.
something to us.
And
And
there
you
was a
don't get that
collective
many
meaning too, Mason.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collective meaning to so many different people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the lady that we met in line on day one, as soon as we went in the gates, seeing her in the parking lot after the
Yeah.
festival was over.
The very last person we saw on the grounds.
Yeah. So she was one of the first people we saw when we went in and the last person we saw when we were leaving. And she was just blown away by the whole festival and just full of hugs, full of, like
Yeah.
full of joy.
She she was brought by her husband. Her husband was into that style, and she was just coming along. She didn't know what she was getting into, and but the fact that she wanted to hug people, like
Yep.
she was just so moved by the community that she was like, "Look, I don't know you. I know we met the first day, but I don't know you, but I need to hug you." And that was
Yeah.
it was so it put a punctuation on an already incredible. I mean, we've been to half of the festival you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for that 2 years, like for me personally, it put an incredible punctuation on that,
Yeah.
and really showed what the whole thing was about.
We gassed each other up.
So much gassing up.
Yeah. And we got
But
gassed
almost
up.
And it gave us joy that was unspeakable, and I like it.
And I like it.
agreed.
Sorry, I was everything in my being not to say that while you were having that poignant moment.
Yeah.
I would have welcomed that. But
But
no, it's been eating at me. I was like, we talked so much and I didn't say like I couldn't get the point like I felt like I didn't get the point across. So what I was like I didn't know how to articulate the words. I couldn't find the vocabulary.
well, the great part was you articulated it. In my book, you articulated it great, in our episode. But man, you really thought it out, and you knocked that one out of the park. That was
Yeah.
pretty. That's summed up nicely.
But I mean, it was like little things. One time I went in, the security person, she's like checking my bag. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing in here but a water bottle and some like hand sanitizer and wipes. She's like, oh yeah, I gotta stay clean. I was like, you want hand sanitizer? And she looked at me. She's like, yeah. I was like, well, here you go. I got it. Like
Right.
who has that interaction with a security person checking your bag as you walk in? That never happens at a venue.
Who was it
Yeah,
that hugged the security guard?
Yeah.
Was
that
that?
was
That
Brock.
was
That was
me.
Brock. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did too. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, it was a personal interaction. She was doing her job. I was
Yeah.
complying, but there was a different level of humanity to that
Right.
interaction than most music venues. You walk in, it's very transactional. You brush by each other, and you're just trying to get to where you're trying to go, and they got to do their job. But it was funny when I was like, "Yeah, here's I got," and she's like, "Okay, yeah, I gotta stay clean." Like,
Yeah.
well, you're touching all these dirty people. You want some hand sanitizer?
And I was actually glad it was the same lady running the locker thing this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
she
know,
was
like
great
when I
last
saw
year.
friendly
her, I
every
was
single
like,
time.
yeah, I was like,
Oh
oh my
my
gosh, you're
gosh.
back. And she kind of got a kick out of the fact that it was like, oh my gosh, you remember me from last year,
Yeah.
and you know, it was cool. Like every time, we'd go up, just kind of make some small talk with her, whenever we were going to the lockers. And yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah, she was top notch. I also let out that exuberant hey when I went to get that locker. It was so cool to see her again.
And I think the biggest thing is like it's not something where it's like, oh, I've been watching videos and wishing I was there. I haven't like found myself wishing I
No,
was there. I was like just
no, no,
happy
no.
I was happy I was there, but
Happy
I'm
that you were
happy
Right,
I'm
there.
here,
Yeah. Yep.
right.
and that's unusual, I think, in like a good experience. Somehow it's produced something out of instead of remain there, where it's just a fondness and it's reminiscing.
Yeah.
Well, right. And it's a reminiscent for joy factor rather than longing, right? Because sure, we had a great time, but it's you're thankful for where you are currently, and you're riding that high, you're riding that wave. I mean, not necessarily riding that high because we all came back to life in general, but you go back and you watch the videos and you remember the moment and what you're thankful for.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, and it
consistent.
was very fun, like, getting back, and it's like all of a sudden I've got like six different people sending me videos from Dogwood. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I got this video of you.
Right, right.
What are the odds that like six different people happen to like have their phones out at that exact moment that all knew me, that were like, hey, I got video of you like stage diving. What are the
Well,
odds?
that's the thing is how many of these events would you go to where people would recognize you to share the video, even if they're filmed?
Right, right.
Right.
And it's like a different situation where there's a somehow you connect with people, whether it's social media or whatever, that makes a difference in this one. Where like my buddy Dave said, like it's hard to explain to people where I just was when people ask what were you doing and how was it? Because just to say it was a music festival and it was fun doesn't get the point across. Especially if you're like, Kevin, we got a tattoo. It's like, how do you explain you got a tattoo about a music festival to people?
Right, right.
Because it
Right.
sounds so dumb.
Right. I mean, speaking of which, Brock, how's your full back piece healing
Yeah,
up?
is that going well?
It took a long time, but I think it's finally starting to feel good again.
Oh, that's good.
The cheating's gone down.
I do have the artist rendering of my official Brock fan club tattoo that I'll be adding to my full back.
Wow.
That's going to be amazing.
I can't wait to get my Dick Broadus right here. It's near my heart over here.
It's it it's gonna say Brock fan club, and the line underneath it will read, "I don't get the appeal."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna get all of the memes, like each and every one, plus all the selfies. Like
It's a
that'll
memento
be like
situation. You
that'll
gotta,
be a full sleeve.
yeah.
That'll be several sleeves.
Well, the great thing
Yeah,
you could do is make it a Hawaiian shirt. Like there is a Weird Al shirt out there with like all
that
these
is
different
true.
pictures of Weird
Oh,
Al.
That
yeah.
is
You
true.
could get all those selfies and like do
Gosh,
a
maybe
custom shirt.
This is a good idea.
maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
This is the sort of reason why we need a Patreon to fund these ideas.
Okay.
I would wear that shirt
There we go. Yeah.
because I get the appeal. I don't care
Well, that's kind of you.
if you've either sprained your ankle or your ACL or your kidney. I get the appeal. Okay?
I sprain my kidney quite often. Yeah.
What is this where the legend is growing? I haven't encountered a different story. I thought it was consistent.
Yeah, have you told a different story? Because I didn't think you had,
It's
but
quite a bit of shade
I
there
don't think
from
so,
me, Daniel
but
Rock.
some stories tell themselves. It's
Was he creating his own lore of Broctitis? I mean,
yeah, I welcome it. You do what you like. Do what you like. I'm not the one that gets to edit Joe and Reese every week.
I know. And shout out to Daniel Rock.
For sure.
We give you we give you
Absolutely.
guff because I grew up with you, but we did miss you there. So you were missed. You were talked about, and maybe next year. Wait,
Yeah.
wait.
Oh shit.
That's right.
Oh.
My buddy John did listen to the Pickle Home Companion on the airplane home to North Carolina.
Oh.
In his
Oh, no
comment,
way.
and I quote that he texted to our Furnace Fest thread was, "I like your."
I'm happy for you. I will not subscribe.
He said, "I like your pickle friends."
Oh.
I feel like such a
There we
big,
go.
big compliment. That's a good
Oh.
one.
That's
John-
cool.
I like you guys too.
John, we
And I
like you
John.
too.
John, I like you.
We do.
Guys, I gotta wrap myself up here. I'm on my way to bed here
Wow.
before an early morning at work. So
You don't even have
I gotta
kids
say
to
adieu.
go see.
I know. Tomorrow I just have to get up early.
We do too, because we're way ahead of you.
It's
That
8
is
o'clock
right.
at night there, brother.
I know, and yet
He still has to run.
You have no excuse.
I haven't run yet. It's true.
How am I going to applaud your efforts if there is no effort?
I know. I'm living for that Jared Freeze applause. So
Just gassing up the homies. Just gassing.
that's right.
up the
Thank you.
homies.
Thank you.
All right. No, I think we did it though. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Yep. Another perfect show in the can.
It's going to rely on a perfect editing job, but it's perfect.
Before we go
That's
into
right.
the Brock after show,
Have we told Brock about the secret podcast yet?
The Brockless. Brockless?
he's
I'm
gonna hear
ready
it.
for it.
That's right, with Jason Brockman, Sean Brockman, and Will R. Brock. It's
Wow.
Brockless.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is fun.
All
I
right.
enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
a long work day, and it was not a fun work day. And this was fun. So I
Mm.
appreciate it.
God,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
appreciate
No, it definitely was not a fun work day here either. So
it was a weird day here too. So I do appreciate the community that has spawned out of Furnace Fest, out of the diabolical discussion, out of the Pickle Home Companion.
100%.
It's not Pickle Home Companion, out of Pickle and Boot. It is true what this community has spawned. So it's pretty cool.
Squids assemble.
Squids
Yep.
assemble.
And that's the news from Lake Skabegon, where the Brock appeal is strong, all the TV box sets are unopened, and the Dell's frozen lemonade is well above average.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Brock, you know the outro we need.
You're responsible.
This is the Brock we're looking for.
Gave you
Oh,
a-
right. Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Hold on. I need
That-
this. Hold on. Crap. And got it.
That's the news from Lake Skabegon. I gotta back it up and give you good delivery.
That's it.
And that's
All right. Stop.
and that's the that's the Lutefisk from Lake Skabegon.
is above average.
That
Ludicrous.
is the news
Not
from
the
Skabegon.
Wayans brothers.
Favorite Wayans brother. Where Ludacris is the best Wayans brother.
That's right.
Brock
That's
has to go to bed, guys. It's 8 o'clock. Go.